know. So I saw in your space some of the wins that you had, and I'm going to open that up one more time just so I can kind of look at it. So it looks like since the blueprint, you've moved into monthly coaching plans. Were you not doing that before? Is that right?
That's correct. So I started coaching about a year and a half ago, and I did the typical pay per lesson,
Mm-hmm.
pay for a 4-pack of lessons, pay for an 8-pack of lessons. And I started the monthly coaching plans in April of this year.
Okay. And how's it been going so far?
So far, it's gone well, other than the fact that I checked out yesterday what my pay per hour of coaching was.
Mm.
What I liked about it was I got people in more frequently, which was
Mm-hmm.
nice. However, even though I've doubled my income, I'm still about around the same average price per hour. And I've doubled my income because I've doubled my time spent.
Okay. So it's not necessarily working out the way that you had hoped to just yet.
That's correct. Yeah, I think I'm moving on the right track because the monthly coaching plan is definitely something different than what's offered in my area. Everybody's
Okay.
standard pay per lesson, 5-pack, buy
Yep.
one or buy four, get one free. So I
Yep.
think it's moving in the right direction, but I'm getting burnt out because I've given 600 hours of lessons already this year.
Okay. So that's one point that we want to refine. You've improved your touch points and you've started to kind of niche down. So let's talk about that as well. So let's maybe start with the touch points, how that's improved, and then the niche.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I did the pay per lesson, you would get somebody in there 1 week, you may see them in 3 or 4 weeks. And I would do the CoachNow process in between where I would upload
Mm-hmm.
recaps, I would send in videos, ask videos in return. So that was always nice. But now that I'm doing monthly coaching plans, like, okay, I know I'm going to see this person for 2 times a month, 4 times a month, or maybe even upwards of 8 hours per month.
Okay.
So it's like, okay. So now it's like, I get them in, I can send them stuff. I say, hey, send me videos of what we're practicing on, and I can see them more often. Then what I've been doing recently is I've decided to kind of niche down into the 12, 14 high school age kid. And now I can
Okay.
start sending them messages like, hey, how were your tournament scores? Hey, how was
Right.
this score? How was practice? So now it's like I'm getting more involved where I can ask them for feedback as well.
Okay. So you mentioned in your message to me initially, and this kind of sounds like what you're talking about, right? Is leaning into that high performance aspect, the folks with higher goal aspirations.
Yes,
Um,
that's correct.
So with that 12 to 14-year-old, they're trying to play on the high school team and then they're trying to get recruited and then who
Yep.
knows from there. Are
Yep,
you
absolutely.
working in your area? Are there any college players or adults that kind of have that same goal orientation of playing competitively?
Yeah, absolutely. So, in my area alone, we have YSU, which is Youngstown State University.
Okay.
So I know quite a few kids on that team who play at the Division I level.
Mm-hmm.
One of my best friends is a professional golfer.
Okay.
He's played in Corn Ferry Tour events and such.
Okay.
I played professional golf for about a year and a half, or tried to play
Mm-hmm.
professional golf. So, in terms of what the aspirations are, there are people who are trying to play in college.
Okay.
However, I think the biggest thing that I'm trying to put forth is the opportunities that these kids have to play college golf.
Okay.
Still very big baseball, basketball, football kind of area.
Okay. So do you think that you could build an entire business just off juniors? If the price was right and everything else, is that something that you're hoping to do?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So we can talk about that. I've got a ton of experience with that. And then it looks like the opportunities that you've identified so far, right? Long-term coaching plans, that kind of fits right in with that high performance offer.
Yep.
Evergreen content, we're right in the midst of that. So that's perfect. And then become more remote. So when you say
Yes.
more remote, kind of give me the definition in your mind what that is for you.
So currently right now, monthly coaching plans, I still have to be on the lesson tee for every single hour that I offer is pretty much
Okay.
how it works, other than those small touch points in between sessions.
Okay.
So what I'd like to be able to do is something that's like in the Connected Coaching Blueprint, where it's,
Right.
hey, here's 2 hours per month minimum. And then in between, we have a FaceTime session, and then we've got comments and different posts and such like that. So
And what's
that's
been
what
holding
I'd
you
like.
back, you think, from just saying this is what I do, right? Because you're in charge of what you do, not the other way around.
Right.
So what's been
Absolutely.
holding you
So
back, you think?
I think that mindset shift
Okay.
is one of them, is saying, this is what I do and this is how I do it. And I got a little bit of experience with that when I started
Mm-hmm.
doing the monthly coaching plans.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think now it's having the confidence that it's like, this will work. I know this is what needs to be done.
Yeah. So I think, and remind me of how old you are.
I'm 27.
Okay. So as far as the coaching life cycle, you're really early on, and
Beginner.
fresh out of college, played a little golf, tried another
Yep.
gig, from what you said, which
Yep.
I think actually helped you in the long run, because you're asking questions that most golf pros aren't asking, even in the beginning of your career, which is great. Hopefully together we can get more and more professionals across all the sports asking these kind of questions in the beginning of their career rather than 20 years in and burning out.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
my hope for the world.
Absolutely.
But I think one of the hardest things to do early on in your career is just to say, this is how I do it. I don't really care what you want.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that specifically, it's that you do care about their goals, you care about their passion, you care about getting them to the end result, but the structure in which it's done, they're coming to you for the structure.
Yep.
Right?
Just like in college, right?
Exactly. You're falling into the model that the college has set up. It's not your job to go, hey, college coach, well, what I'd really like to do. And they go, shut up, man. That's not what we do here. So
Yeah,
don't worry about
exactly.
it. And I think it's more accepted in kind of more hardcore sports. Not to say that golf isn't hardcore at some level for the training aspect of it, but if you're a football player, a weightlifter, an MMA fighter, or whatever, you're just falling in and you're shutting up and you're doing what the coach or trainer is telling you to do. In a perfect scenario, yes, it's collaborative once a certain level of performance is reached. But in the early days, you're 12 or 14, you don't know what's going on. So as a parent, I might have my own opinions, which is one of the challenges you're going to continue to face when it comes to leaning into the junior market, because you've got to convince mom and dad that this is the way to do it. Yep. Now, one of the important aspects of that blueprint offer, where it's 2 hours in person, some connection in between, and then a live video call, that's 2.5 hours. That's almost 3 hours of interaction on a monthly basis. But the beautiful part is if you set that junior on the right path, they need to spend a lot of time working on this independently.
Absolutely.
So if you look back to your own career as a player, those are some of the things that you want to lean on in the way that you position your offer and the way that you position your structure, and ultimately kind of how you land on your hook and why you're different, right?
Right.
It's not so much that you need to be holding these juniors' hands. A lot of it's going to be, I'm going to help you establish a solid baseline, a solid plan, and then I'm going to monitor that plan remotely. But here's what's going to happen. Your son or daughter is now going to have the opportunity to create a level of autonomy and ownership in their development. That is the key. I cannot be with them in the middle of a tournament telling them what to do. That's not going to be successful. So how do we get them to the point where they can solve problems, be creative, be resilient? That's a lot of practice on their own.
Yep. Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. One of the things
so
that
as I'm saying that, kind of what kind of things spark in your brain from what I'm saying to your own history, and maybe what you can maybe change a little bit?
Absolutely. So I completely agree with the holding hands aspect. I have kids and clients who want their kid in every single week, that 1 hour time slot. And I'm like, at first, beginning coach, I'm like, okay, that's kind of how things are done. So let's check it out. Then I realize it doesn't really work as well as you think it does. I always feel like, one, I'm running out of time, where instead of doing a 2-hour coaching session, I have 1 hour, and it's like, okay, they're just getting it, and it's at the 55-minute mark.
Yeah.
Then two is there's a lot of,
and that's why I only did 2 hours, as I pointed out. I would never do an hour, but yeah, continue.
Yeah, it's very minimal. And then they don't go practice in between sessions. So,
right.
And this is very typical for even my adult clients that I currently have.
Of course.
It's okay, well, I'm going to come see you an hour per week. That's the hour that I'm going to spend at golf. And it's like, oh, hold on here. Here's what I want to do is that 2-hour touch points in between. And then that way I can say, instead of telling them what to do every week, I can say, is this good? Is this what we worked on? What do you think you need to do? And then be asking them questions on what do they think that they need to improve, so that way they can own their swing.
So like I say in the blueprint, right, there's this directive feedback in the early days, then calibrative as soon as possible. But the only way you can move to that calibrative feedback as soon as possible is by making sure that everyone is on the same page expectations wise. So I think one of the things that we're going to want to land on as a result of our short time together is getting you to the point where you're refining your offer and refining your onboarding process.
Yeah.
To make sure the expectations are ultra clear and that you don't bend to the will of someone else. You do what you think is best. Obviously, you're going to learn to, you're going to change things, you're going to improve. That's fine. But in these early days, part of growing your business, and this is scary, is turning away people.
Yep.
Not accepting everyone, creating some sort of onboarding and assessment process. So maybe let's lean into that for a second. So knowing your clientele, knowing you, what kind of things can we maybe implement for onboarding and assessments that you aren't doing and that you would want to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going through an assessment, but I haven't turned a single person away as of right now. Okay. So the assessment's more to just kind of get to know each other and figure out what plan they should move into. Okay. But that's the scary part is I'm having some clients who are older clients who are kind of recreational golfers where they're asking me for lessons and sessions. And I'm like, I don't want to coach you, not to be mean, but I want kids.
Have you actually turned anybody down though?
No, I'm getting ready to. Okay. I'm getting prepared. So what I would like to have done is, hey, how old are you? Because that's important for me. Is I want kids who are younger who are going to either play high school or college golf. What are your goals? Do you just want to play on the high school team just because you want to play and you just want a little bit of guidance? Or do you want to play in high school tournaments? Do you want to play in tournaments in the summer? Do you want to play Division I college golf? What do you want to do? So that way I can accept the students that I want. And one of the important things that I'm reading is the talent code, which you mentioned
that's the
in
foundational part
videos.
of the business. Yeah.
So as I went through that, I was reading the part about the boarding school or charter school, and really starting to. I need to have a culture that's in place of who my clients are.
Yes.
So that way, it's look at them, they go to Buster, or look at them, they don't go to Buster.
Nailing it, bro. Yeah. So I can tell you in my experience, once upon a time, I wasn't completely niched out into juniors once I left the academy world. I was really focused on those that had tournament aspirations in whatever age category. So I worked with a lot of mini tour players, even like folks that wanted to be club champions. Yep. But the reality was, I turned away so many people that were coming for lessons. I said, I don't do that. I train. Yeah. And it's a 3-month minimal commitment. I need to know what your aspirations are. And we're going to work diligently to get there. And I can tell you right now, based on what you're saying, I am not a good fit for you. I'm going to push you way harder than you're ready for. Now, if what I'm saying to you excites you, then we can do an assessment and see if you'd be a good fit. But I'm letting you right now, you're likely not going to be a fit for what I do.
I gotcha.
So you're always setting the stage that they have to earn it, because you're going to push them so hard. I mean, I made one of my good buddy's dads who said, yes, I'm into it, I'm going to do this. I made him throw up during a training session. Like, he literally was puking because he's so tight and had no mobility that I was putting him in a hula hoop and making him work on his pivot. And he apparently, like an hour later, he was puking everywhere.
No way.
Yeah. So I'm not saying that to say like I'm the drill sergeant, I'm the gnarliest guy in town. But what I am saying is that if people were working with me, they could identify other people at that same facility that were working with me as well. They all practice a certain way. They were all using alignment sticks. They all were using certain training aids. They were doing certain drills. So when they would walk down the range or the practice facility, they go, oh, you work with Spencer too? Oh, this is great. Let's go pair up. Let's go play. Let's go practice. So it created a community around me. And that was a lot of the impetus of creating Edufy, which now is CoachNow, back in the day, because I wanted to take that offline experience that everyone was having and bring it to a place where we could constantly stay connected. I could build a tribe around my coaching practice.
Right.
Absolutely. So your aspirations and your what you're shooting for, I think, are completely in alignment with what I see across the whole world of coaching as a really successful pattern. Part of it, though, is creating a more disciplined onboarding and assessment process to where not everyone will, I'll say it this way. Let's rephrase it. I think you still have an opportunity to have a lot of people attached to your business, especially as a young coach. But what I would say is not everyone deserves one-on-one time with you or time with you in person at all. So let's think about this as an on-ramp for them to earn the right to work with you in person or one-on-one. Okay. Gotcha. So the elite level is one-on-one time with Buster in whatever capacity we figure out works for you. Level 2 is group coaching only. So it's supervised practice for all these kids that kind of want to play in high school, that kind of like golf. It's great. You now can join our supervised practice program. That way for you, it's highly leveraged. They're paying a monthly fee to come to practice just like they would for soccer or tennis or basketball or anything else.
Okay.
You're then not doing a lot of one-on-one hands-on technical work. You're setting them up for effective practice stations. Yeah. And depending on what period of time they are in the tournament cycle. So let's say it's summer right now. I'm a newbie. I want to play in high school. I'm an 8th grader. Great. Here are the ways that we're going to practice today to make sure that you can refine some of your basic technical skills without me breaking down your swing a ton. Like, here's a set of drills that we can do. Here's some training aids to help you kind of work on certain positions. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to move to a practice station or a practice period of time that is more focused on implementing these things and trying to get the ball in the hole. Like, we're trying to score a little bit. Then the third level is now I'm going to put you under some pressure. Now there's some competition between you and your buddies. So I'm going to pair you up. Now it's groups of 3 versus other groups of 3. So you work through this periodization process. Now, most golf coaches and most golfers still have no idea what periodization is. It's an immensely powerful tool when it comes to structuring your offer. It's something that you innately know, but maybe haven't thought about even in your own history. But every other sport does it. There's a preseason, there's a training period, there's the season, and there's recovery. That's how it goes. I'm not going to be working on my technical quarterback skills in the middle of the season. It's just not going to happen.
Yep. I have a little note on my computer that has all of those seasons broken down, because I would like to do an annual plan for people. And it's like, hey, this is what it looks like from November till December, January time when they're done with high school golf and making some changes in between, getting prepared for tournament season starting in May. Yep.
Perfect. So that's exactly what you want to spell out. Yeah. You want to spell that out exactly on whatever landing page you're sending to people. And then your monthly coaching plans are eventually going to evolve. And on our next call, we'll look through what you currently have in more detail and maybe what you've kind of roughed out between our conversations. Mm-hmm. But your monthly coaching plans are going to be less about everyone gets one-on-one time. It's more of, if you qualify, your assessment leads you here, great. This is how I do it. You could say 2 hours a month in person, 4 hours a month. I don't really care what you do as long as it fits your lifestyle and what you're looking for.
Sure. Yep.
But I don't think you need to be meeting every week for multiple hours a week. That's like, there's not enough time for anybody to do anything on their own, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's this one-on-one funnel that you're pushing people into. If they don't
Yep.
quite make it, now they're in some sort of group coaching scenario. If they can't attend those or commit to those from a financial standpoint, because we want to escalate the price, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you're charging now, you can probably charge more.
Yep.
Then if they're not able to meet those two buckets, those two areas of what you do, they can go completely remote, where they're joining potentially a group within CoachNow, where they're paying $19.99 a month to have kind of an interactive community setting. That can be for a lot of those older folks that aren't ready to commit to the full level of training, right? So you can kind of have a 30-year-old plus community as an idea, and then you can kind of have more of that younger community, charge different things, deliver different things. And then eventually, not yet, but eventually you would identify some sort of pure evergreen product that just lives on independently of you, which is a low ticket offer that then acts as a lead magnet and a funnel into these higher ticket offers that you have, where you are putting a little bit of time in of varying levels.
Absolutely.
Does that kind of make sense of where we could head?
Absolutely. And I listened to the podcast with Nicole Foggerhouse, I believe is how you pronounce her last name. And that got me thinking about the group sessions, which I just actually ran my first group session yesterday. So
okay, what was that like?
So it was great. The kids loved it. What I did was I have probably 15 high school kids. 10 of them, 8 of them were about able to make it. But what I did was I set up a practice. I had a couple games on the putting green, a couple games on the chipping green, and then we did a couple games on the range. So I split them up into groups. I picked some people who were similar level, had them do challenges against each other, move around, and then I was able to check out some swing things in between them competing. Then at the end, we did a driving contest, which it was who can out of 3 shots, who can get it in between this alley. So it went great, and that's what I would like to be able to do as well with my students, where it's you can get the one-on-one coaching time, but only on this week and at this week, and then in between, I set up these group practice sessions.
Love it. Yeah, there's a coach I may have referenced in that call with Nicole, but I've referenced him many times separately. So forgive me if you've heard this, you can stop me. But great coach in Chicago who created an entire business just off of training in pods, just groups of 3. He would only take 25 kids a year, and he was making somewhere between $250,000 to $300,000 a year. Everyone would pay up front, and his ratio of sending kids to D1 schools off the charts.
Yeah.
Because he is not someone that's just bringing in anybody and everybody off the street. It's like, this is the team for this season. You're now here, and this is what we're going to be doing. This is how we're going to be training. And because he was able to collect a pretty large check up front, he was then able to kind of forecast moving forward where he was going to allocate the money to grow the program. He's got a wait list. And then as parents were maybe waffling on coming back the following year because of the cost or whatever, maybe the improvement wasn't at the level that they thought they'd be at, he would be using CoachNow as a place to reference back to and go, well, from what I can see, they didn't really even log in as much as someone else. They weren't posting. They weren't asking questions. They weren't taking ownership of their development. Well, no wonder. Or it's, hey, let's not focus on the score right now. Let's understand how much technical change has happened, how their diets changed, how their bodies changed. The scores are around the corner, but you know, and I know, when you're coaching a younger person, they might be going through a growth spurt. They might have gone through puberty and having a lot of emotional ups and downs. There's just a lot of challenges when it comes to coaching kids. And if you have a reference point like CoachNow to push back to, then it's like, oh, okay, great.
Yeah,
you can keep selling
exactly. Exactly. And like you said, what I love about the annual coaching plans or 6 month coaching plans, whatever it ends
Mm-hmm.
up being, because I'm in Ohio, is I love the idea that I can stop worrying about getting the kid on for the next month and start providing value throughout the year. I'm too
Yes.
busy worrying, oh, okay, well, is this kid going to show up next month? Like, how many sessions do I get? What can I work on? Is this going to work?
Right.
If he doesn't come to see me for the next 3 months in summer, what's going to happen? So if
Right.
I get them on the annual plan, it's like, okay, we can take our time. I can now start doing other things like developing videos on how to warm up effectively, how to practice
Right.
effectively, get them in group calls for looking at tournaments and going through courses.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm doing now is I'm scrambling around. I'm working 13 hours a day on some days. I'm just trying to get by.
So
That's
remind me,
exactly what I
remind me of
want.
the facility that you're at. Remind me of the relationship with the facility, the flexibility you have to kind of be that entrepreneur that you want to be.
So the flexibility is pretty decent. I'm at
Okay.
a really well-known country club style place that has 4 courses,
Okay.
and they have 3 really nice practice facilities. Uh, I
Nice.
I don't they don't hire me per se. I have to give them X% of whatever I make, but I
Great.
don't have any problems of bringing in kids. I don't have problems of training. The only issue that
Mm-hmm.
I have is during the winter time is they have 4 simulators at the club,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but I'm very busy to where it might be taking up too much time. I will be
Okay.
paying for the time, so it's not as big of a deal, but it is a very much a more of a party style atmosphere down there,
Okay.
not a
Okay.
coaching style atmosphere.
Okay. Do you have any other? Have you kind of put in any thoughts where else you could go during that harsh winter time, or anything you can do to kind of maintain a level of higher training?
Well, what I would like to do is find a studio for myself where
Okay.
I could offer my high end goal would be to have my own performance training facility, is
Okay.
how I would say it. So
Okay.
Clemson University is a great example. I went to a kids or a camp there, but they have indoor outdoor chipping and putting, outdoor
Mm-hmm.
range, indoor outdoor bays. But to get that started, I'd like to have my own space, and then you could pay a subscription to come in and use it when you want.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's becoming more and more popular across the world, as far as I can see. There's obvious startup costs to pulling that off. You need a
Yep.
clientele that you feel you could move from, not exclusively from one facility to the other, but they could kind of go in between them, so that
Yep.
you don't have one group that only goes to the indoor one and one that can go to the green grass facility, so to speak.
Right.
Um, so that's a great aspiration. It sounds like we're a bit far from that.
Yep.
Maybe, I don't know. Um, but maybe by winter of 2023, we can have things in place to where you'd feel confident in pulling the trigger on something like that. Would that
Sure.
be a reasonable aspiration, do you think, for you?
Absolutely. I'm honestly comfortable on pulling the trigger on at least a smaller indoor space within the next few months.
Oh, really?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. So that way, like I said, I can have my own space in the winter. I don't
Okay.
have to worry about giving X% away of my lessons. And then I can give the kids somewhere where they can actually go and practice. Because
Okay.
inside, um, indoor facilities in the area, there's one about 30 minutes away, but it's a party place, more or less. The one
Okay.
at my country club is for members only or hotel guests only. So
Okay.
wintertime area is these kids are, if they're members, they're good. If they're not members, they have to go find somewhere else, pay X% or X amount
Okay.
and do something there.
Okay. So if you're looking at an indoor facility, how many bays would you ideally have? Would you have an area for putting and chipping? I mean, kind of walk me through the design in your mind right now of what you reasonably could afford as phase one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think um, I would partner with one of my good friends who is
Okay.
the gentleman who is playing professional golf currently. He already
Okay.
he has a GC3 and a simulator set up.
Okay.
I have a GC quad currently.
Okay.
So I would just need the shell and such for that. Then
Yep.
ideally I would have one more bay.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'd like to have an indoor putting green and somewhere to chip.
Okay.
And if all possible, if I can get some weight room equipment in there,
Right.
that would be ideal.
So square footage wise, have you mapped out what that would be?
I have not. I've looked at a couple
Okay.
buildings in the area just to kind of get an idea of pricing wise per month. But that's still beginning process.
Okay. And I'm assuming you've never rented out a commercial space before. This would be the first time you've done it, or no?
That's correct.
Okay. So part of the due diligence on where we're headed is just trying to understand a little bit more about the commercial real estate area, or just the scene in your area, all the different comps, the price per square foot, what you can actually do to the space under whatever guidelines they have.
Mm-hmm.
Is there some level of curfew attached to the space, meaning there's certain hours people can't go? What's the security? Is there extra fees you're going to be paying that are kind of not obvious from additionally just to the rent? Are you responsible for turning on all the utilities, lights, water, internet, or are you kind of plugging into something that's already established? Is there a front desk? Is there a shared restroom? All that kind of stuff should be a part of your due diligence, because all of those answers will influence the type of offer you're going to be able to make.
Right.
And we also want to understand that this hopefully would be the first facility of potentially many, because you'll outgrow it.
Yeah.
I have a good friend of mine that started a fantastic training business, but he started it inside of a traditional gym. He took over one of the bottom floors. He quickly outgrew it. Then he moved to another facility that was maybe 15,000 square feet. Within a year, outgrew that. And then he rented an entire warehouse, maybe 30,000 square feet, and he's retrofitted the entire thing from top to bottom. But it took him, I think, 5 or 6 years to get there, which actually is quite fast. And he's working in a small town, and they make 7 figures as a gym. So it's pretty incredible. So I have moderate experience seeing how that goes, and also being a part of renting a lot of commercial spaces just as a software company and doing other stuff that I've done. So I wouldn't be the greatest expert when it comes down to the nitty gritty, but I think we could get pretty far in identifying, kind of what your actual budget is, and helping you identify the build out costs, and if it's something you actually do want to do right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I'm at the very minimal just checking around stages.
Yep.
But in terms of being able to scale my business, it's almost going to be a necessity, just because of I fear the club that I'm at may ask for a higher percent.
Okay. And what are you paying them now?
It's about 20%.
Yeah, you don't want to go any higher than that. That's for sure.
No, I don't.
Now, are they including range balls for free?
Yes. So all the practice facility already has all that stuff for free.
Okay. And what about when you take someone on the course? What kind of fee are they charging you for that?
Luckily, I work at the course, so no fee.
No fee right now. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, right now, that's not a bad gig. Because a lot of places, if you were to do the percentage kind of setup, if you were independent of the facility, you'd be paying green fees as well, in addition to a percentage. Discounted green fees usually, but okay. So you're allowed to bring outside people to the facility, obviously. Are they working and pushing you leads? Are they effectively sending you folks that could be good clientele for you?
Yes, sometimes. So luckily I'm friends with a lot of the employees. So when people come in and ask for lessons, hey, here's Buster's card. Give him a call. A lot of
Okay.
my leads have actually been more through word of mouth
Yep.
at the moment. All of my clients who I want to take on are word of mouth clients.
Okay. And do you feel, give it sounds like it to me, given the amount of hours that you're spending on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, that it's too much as far as the in-person amount of time.
Absolutely.
Are you at capacity? It sounds like you might be at capacity already.
Very much so. I mean, so I'm giving 30-ish hours of coaching per week.
Okay.
So what that looks like is Monday and Tuesday I work in the pro shop from 6 to 1 o'clock. And then I'll
Okay.
give coaching sessions from 1 until 7 p.m.
It's a big day.
Wednesday, Thursday, I give sessions from 1 until 7 p.m., sometimes 12 until 7. Saturday and Sunday mornings from 8 until noon, 8 until 1.
So you're in the shop only 2 days a week?
That's correct.
Okay. That's not as bad as some folks.
Yeah,
Are
that's correct.
you, do you see the opportunity to maintain a positive relationship with them, but remove the shop hours altogether?
I believe I could. Um, I would have to kind of prance my way around that where it's like, okay, well, what am I allowed to do outside of now that I'm not working here? Can I still take people out on the course? Because there is another teaching professional there who still takes clients out onto the course, not at the extent that I want to, but he does not work in the pro shop.
Okay. And so part of the transitions that I made when I was around, I guess I was a little younger than you when I was doing this, but I was working at a club as well. I talk about it in the blueprint. And I
Yep.
transitioned very quickly from behind the counter to now being director of instruction just because I said I was.
Yep.
And part of that transition point is getting other people to buy in. And in doing so, you want to justify the value that you're bringing to the facility, that your
Yes.
value in coaching and creating events and getting more people excited to play results in more money coming to the facility than you standing behind the counter.
Right.
You have more value to bring than that. So that might be something that we want to identify as well as a part of this process, is to help you transition away from that pro shop time, because you're not doing yourself any favors. It's not where you want your career to go. You're probably just, I mean, to me, I think you, just knowing you in this short time, I'm sure you do a great job while you're in there, but it's not what you want to be doing.
Right.
And it's
Exactly.
not where you can deliver the most value to the business. Because
Absolutely.
if you were coaching during those times, now that's 20% back to the golf course that they're currently not getting, just as a simple example.
Yep.
So I
Yeah,
think we want to
absolutely.
transition you out of that as soon as possible. How many more months do you have of coaching outdoors before the weather gets too crazy?
So typically, where I see the non-competitive golfers drop off is September-ish timeframe,
Okay.
and
Mm-hmm.
then the high school golfers is October timeframe. However, I am having some issues with my monthly coaching plans where it kind of seems like they're teetering back and forth. Because how I have it is, you've got 2, 4, 8 hours of instruction. I'm like, well, you're going to be in school. You have tournaments. Are you going to be able to get this time in? Do we really want to do that, or are you just going to ride it out for the rest of the season?
Right.
So,
Okay.
so
I think
October-ish
part of,
timeframe
yeah. No, continue.
October-ish
Sorry. Go ahead.
timeframes where you kind of see the drop off because everybody's kind of done with golf.
Okay. And then just so I get a whole picture of what your life looks like, because I think all of these factors factor in, because it's not just about your business, it's about your lifestyle, it's about your family, it's about whatever you want to do outside of coaching, because
Mm-hmm.
coaching or golf should not be your entire life, at least in my opinion. So
Right.
explain to me kind of any of the relationships that you have. Are you in one? Family kind of dynamics that might be important for us to know.
Yep, absolutely. So I have a fiance, so we'll be
Okay.
getting married in June of next year.
Okay.
No family plans as of yet. We have our own apartment. Um,
Okay.
in terms of what I want to do outside of golf,
Yeah,
You
be helpful
know,
to know.
I mean, I just want to be able to have time to be able to spend doing some other things, whether that's reading, whether that's working um, on learning new things, like, you know, just being able to coach other coaches, um,
Okay.
then being able to travel and go play some golf courses. That would be sweet. You know, I see
Okay.
these people going on golf trips all the time with their friends, and I'm like, well, I can't go do that because I have to go give lessons on Saturday and Sunday. Just like being able
Right.
to go see my family. It's, oh, sorry, I can't do that. I have lessons until 1 o'clock, so I can't go during that time.
Yep. Okay. Well, yeah, I think this resonates with every coach out there. You
Mm-hmm.
want more time and location freedom, and obviously, as a part of doing that, you need to have income that is not dependent on your time, and that's the whole point of the first level of the blueprint that you went through, is helping you at least identify that that's the aspiration and that
Yep.
it is possible. Now, are you going to get there within a matter of a few weeks or months? Maybe not, especially if you're just starting out. You don't have kind of a business that's working that you can tweak. You're kind of just building a business from scratch. But it's also a great opportunity to not create a lot of bad habits and not position yourself to for sure burn out
Yep.
before you then come to me or look for other information, right? There's a lot of
Yeah.
coaches that have taken the blueprint that have taken great action, but there's others that have been slow largely because they already have kids, they have a mortgage, they have all these other commitments, and they're scared to make the leap, even though if they do, it'll give them the life that they want. It's challenging to do it, and I totally get it.
Yep.
It sounds like, though, you're in a position where you can take some risks, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you can, and you can
Yep.
make some big moves, and it won't necessarily trickle down to negatively affect your life in too big of a way.
Yeah, that's correct.
Is your fiance supportive of your entrepreneurial journey? Because some folks are way too risk averse to even entertain that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she knows from prior experience that I hated what I did between coaching and golf, and now I
Mm-hmm.
really do enjoy it.
Okay.
So she's very supportive, and she knows that I work really hard to get done when I get done.
Okay. Okay. Well, I like everything that I'm hearing. I know we've bounced around a lot. A lot of this has been just kind of a get to know you kind of
Mm-hmm.
session and identify some of the things you're looking for. So as we get to the last 20 minutes of our time together, let's start to kind of really narrow in the areas that we could potentially automate, the areas that we could potentially delegate, and the areas that we could potentially eliminate altogether. So we
Okay.
kind of hinted a little bit on the elimination early on, as far as let's eliminate some clients. Let's
Yep.
eliminate some of the structures that you've created that aren't necessarily giving you the income that you want, the time control that you want, the location control that you want either. So let's start with that, because you've worked long enough already to go from traditional lessons, 5 packs, etc., to now into a monthly coaching program. Some of it's working, some of it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So let's really get clear on what's working and totally ditch all the rest. At least create a plan to ditch it within the next month or so. You've already
Yep.
sold some stuff to some people. You can't bail on them.
Yeah,
But let's
absolutely.
imagine we're now moving into this off season,
Yep.
and then anybody else that comes on new, this is what they're going to enter into.
Yep.
Okay. So let's imagine we got a new client coming in. From what we've talked about now and what you've been mulling over already,
Mm-hmm.
what offer do you want to make them? They're 12 to 14 years old. You got to talk to the parents. What are you going to offer them?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what I would offer them would be, I would ask what their goals were first. But the
Mm-hmm.
best plan that I think I could offer would be an annual plan, which
Okay.
includes 2 hours of instruction per month. So one 2 hour
Okay.
session.
Live and in person. Yep.
Yep,
Yep.
live and in person. I'm just going to kind of go off of what you had in your blueprint, where there's a FaceTime Zoom call in between sessions. That way I can talk to the player, ask them how things are going. They have the responsibility of sending me in videos weekly. So that way I can check on what's going on. I know they're practicing, and they have to give me feedback on what they feel like they're doing versus what they are doing. And then that way they can check themselves. Then on top of that, these kids will get extra bonuses to the bundling aspect.
There we go.
They're not going to get just the 2 hours of in-person instruction. They're going to get me in their pocket. They're going to be able to ask me questions whenever they want. Doesn't mean I'll answer every single time, but I'll be able to at least give them some feedback. They can get access to group coaching sessions where I bring my high school kids together. They challenge and compete against each other in different games and drills that I have set up throughout the year. And then what I'd also want to help them parents do is be able to figure out what tournaments their kids should be playing in. So some sort of structure where it's the in-person, it's mobile, it's helping parents figure out tournaments and tournament schedules, and it's also getting some group sessions in between to have some fun, to build skills, build relationships, and bring a team together.
Beautiful. So to me, that sounds like the platinum package, right?
Yep.
That's the platinum offer. You're getting everything. You're getting tournament preparation. You're getting parental education, all the things that you mentioned, right?
Yep.
So then it's like, wow, that sounds great. Unfortunately, I can't commit to the amount of time that might be because they're also playing soccer or whatever.
Right.
We can't afford it. You're going to have a lot of how should I put this? I'll skip the word I was searching for, but you're going to have a little bit of pushback, right? That you're going to always have to defend against. Okay. Now, from there, you've got your ultimate package and you only have a certain amount of spots. So that's one of the tactics that you're going to use. There's a scarcity tactic as a part of this, which is real. You can't coach 1,000 kids. So you're going to say, I've only got, we could follow the model of the other great coach I was referencing. We've only got 25 spots, 24 spots.
Yep.
Are you going to be one of them? Because this is when we start. So you can either do that. Now, if you're not going to join the platinum, and we'll call it, you'd want to call it something way cooler than that, but not going to join that. Now you're going to go into the second tier that I offer, which is just group coaching, just as one example. And that group coaching is with a different group of kids, not the kids that are part of the 24, because these kids are all on a different path than you.
Okay,
I've got another 24 slots for level 2. And level 2 and let's say level 1, you also need to have some sort of assessment. Are you going to be a good fit? Are you kind of a shitty kid? Like, I don't even want you there because your attitude sucks. Like, I don't even want to deal with the parents. I don't want you here.
Yep.
And then level 2 is, well, I'm 8th grade. Golf sounds cool, but I'm not ready for, this is way too serious. And the parents aren't going to be ready to commit to that because they haven't seen any level of skills in the kid, just interest.
Sure.
So level 2 is this. And this is supervised practice once a week, every other week, whatever you establish. But we're also going to put you into a CoachNow group where we can be assigning drills and challenges that you can do on your own. And we can still educate the parents in some way around just being a decent sports parent. There's opportunities in that way. And then level 3 would be something else that we can identify where it might just be purely remote as a way to onboard them into these other things. And then level 4 would be a pure evergreen product that we're offering that is more of like Buster's 10 ways to do something. It's more of kind of a lead magnet in that way. So I think if we could identify those different tiers, then you have an opportunity to just be very, very clear with where you're putting people. There's only a certain amount of spots. As we're doing that, if there's 24 kids and you're offering 2 hours of instruction a month, right? That's 48 hours of instruction in person a month. That's not unmanageable.
No,
it's not too bad.
Not at all.
And then then you've got the group coaching, which might be another 4 hours. So now we're at 52 hours for the month. And then you've got the other group that maybe, let's say, another 4 hours a month. So that's 56 hours a month of in-person time. Pretty
Sounds
manageable.
Great. Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Now we're talking about the remote side of it. And on the per kid basis, you might be looking at another couple hours. So with quick, rough math, and we would want to actually write this out in a more legitimate fashion as part of your assignment here. But you're looking at 60 plus hours of work a month.
Yeah.
And that's combination of in-person plus the remote interactions in whatever capacity.
Yep.
It's pretty great.
2 weeks.
Totally doable. And there's no reason why you can't get there sooner than next year or the year after. You just have to make some pretty choice decisions here and be very clear with what you're willing to accept and what you're not.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. I think I love the second tier plan too of, hey, these are the spots that are for the kids. These are the spots that are for kids who, hey, you want some structured coaching. It's going to be more than what your high school can offer. We do a little bit of technical stuff in between. They have some fun. Golden. And then the remote aspect, that's the part that I have trouble with just because I don't know too many people in the area at the junior level who would be able to do that. Maybe there are. They just don't know it yet. But it could be
one of the things
at a
you
price point.
Sure. Yeah. And one of the things I would challenge you with, and your audience better than I do, but if you don't make offers, you don't know if they'll take them anyway. So sometimes you got to just beta something. And if you have a list, and this will be, I'll come back to this in just a moment, the importance of having a list, but we'll talk about it in a second. A lot of these kids and parents are consuming content on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, wherever they can get their golf content. They're just getting it all the time because they're bored, they're interested, they want to somehow understand how to hold the club, whatever. So what I want to challenge you with is that you are now your own golf channel. There's no reason why you can't be the person providing them that level of content, but in a more structured way and something that maybe they're paying for.
I gotcha. Okay.
So
like a set playlist, right?
Yeah. And something where the parents, I'll tell you this is something I was going to do, but I don't have the capacity, nor does my body allow it right now. But one of the things that you can do, there's a huge gap when it comes to being a golf parent. And I'm not just talking about going to tournaments. I'm talking about how can you take your kid to the course and make the time on the course productive? No parent has any clue. And honestly, most golf coaches have no clue.
Yep.
So I see all these parents out there with their kids. They're playing all the way back at regular tee boxes. They can barely get the ball in the air. Everyone's pissed off. Everyone's miserable. They're like, hey, watch your alignment. Do this, do that. Put the kid at 150 and just have him rip it.
Yep.
Swing hard. Just get them out there. Let them enjoy it. They're not keeping score. And then eventually as the interest level peaks, their attention peaks, then it's okay. Now we're going to start to score, but we're going to score from 100 yards and in. Once you reach a certain level, you go back. So it's very much like Operation 36 at that level.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say.
So there's so much opportunity to not market to the kid. You can't market to 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds. You can't market to them. You market to the parents, and you're creating a community for the parents to help them understand how to integrate their kids into golf at all. When's the right time to bring them on the course? When's the right time to bring them to the driving range? Should we start with chipping? Should we start with putting? I don't know. Should I have them grip it this way? Should I have them worry about all this technical crap? There's so much opportunity to have a master class ongoing that's evergreen, or an interactive community where these parents are paying $29, $39, whatever a month. And it gives you such a beautiful hook to reach beyond your community, social lead magnets, all the rest. Like, hey, Tour Pro's guide to getting your kids started in golf for parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the people that I'm actually been in contact with, he has brought his daughter up from age 7-ish. She's now one of the top ranked junior golfers in the world. And
Awesome.
so I've been trying to get some ideas. Like I didn't start playing golf until I was 14. So,
Same. Yeah, I was a
hey,
later player too.
yep. So I'm like, hey, what does this look like? What did you do to
Hmm.
get them started? What fun stuff did you do? What technical stuff did you do? So that's
Hmm.
a great idea, because as I've been coaching some 8 and 10-year-olds, I'm now getting an idea of, oh, they need to do more games. They need to have more fun.
Hmm.
We need to make it. We can use these challenging level drills that professionals use and then make them scale them to be so much easier. And then it's
Right.
like, you start seeing kids jump up and down when they hit a chip shot within 10 feet because you just gave them a
Hmm.
goal.
Yep.
And I'm going to start taking out my junior golfers out onto the course. So that way it's like, oh, now I'm playing golf. I'm not just going and practicing putting. It's like, oh,
Yep.
I hit a shot here, chip a shot here, put it, make it in the hole. Good. So
So what you
that's a
can do
great
with that
idea.
third tier where you're just educating parents and the parents, because ultimately if you're coaching juniors, you have to get a master at negotiating and selling parents. This is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So in that third tier where it's a parent's guide to junior golf, this is what I'm giving you. And a lot of that can be pre-recorded. It can be PDFs. It can be any number of things. And then that community will ask you questions. The beautiful part about having a community is those parents ask questions. You answer one question, you answer it for everyone, right? So there's a little
Yep.
bit of an interactive component. You're not in there analyzing golf swings. That's not what this is about. You're 8, 9 years old. We're not going to analyze your golf swing, but we are going to tell you to do certain things. One of which we all know, you got to work on speed. Have the kids swing as hard as possible, as often as possible, right? Or as fast as
Yep.
possible is a better way to put it.
Yep.
So as we get closer here, we're almost at our time box here, but the homework, right? We want to talk about the assignment. What are you going to come back to me with? Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a deck, and this is what I do. You go to Google Slides. It's very easy. And I can see from your website that you've got some skills. So you're not a complete newbie when it comes to talking about your business or creating some stuff. So that's great. You're going to create a slide deck for me, and it's going to be a 3-page deck. And we want to identify what we're going to put on there. So I think from this conversation, the first thing we want to do is, in your mind, you're kind of erasing completely this monthly stuff that you're doing. Okay. We're going to be
Yep.
moving forward into these 3 tiers: tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. I want you to think about a name for those particular tiers, but it's not crucial, but it's more about what you're going to offer. And what I want you to do is think about the amount of kids that can go into each of the tiers. You're going to think about the core offer, but also a bonus. Okay, so if they sign up before a certain time, or if they commit to paying up front for the year instead of installments. So you do want to offer a year package. Yes, you do want to offer an incentive for signing up for the whole thing up front, but you also understand parents maybe not be able to float that right then. So you offer a payment plan, but it's still a year commitment. Okay.
Yep.
So tier 1 has all of these and a bonus. Tier 2, same thing. It has all of this and a bonus. The separate prices. So I want you to think about what the prices would be. Don't do it by the hour, though. Don't think in
Yeah.
an hourly mindset, right? Don't think, well, I need to make $20 an hour for this to be worth it. No.
Yeah.
Break that. You want to factor in what you want to make annually, and then what it's going to take to make it monthly. We're not going to get down to weekly or hourly. We don't need to worry about that right now. Okay. So an annual target, and then the monthly target to get there. But we're going to treat this more like a software company, where we're going to have ARR and MRR, monthly recurring revenue and annual recurring revenue. Okay. This isn't chasing lessons anymore.
Yeah.
We're creating a recurring business. And if you deliver the value that you're promising, they will stay on the books. So then in the next year, if we were to have the same conversation, I would say, okay, what's your retention like? Okay. Are people coming back? Are you able to also upsell them throughout the year to make them more valuable to you? Okay. So think about what we're doing here at CoachNow. I'm always as transparent as I can be, because I didn't invent any of this stuff. We're just doing it. And I'm trying to pass it to my brothers in the field here. So it's more of, we create a subscription software product, right? Our retention is out the chart, off the roof. We now create another tier called CoachNow Pro. Now those existing paying members that are happy upgrade to the next tier of features that we're releasing. Even if they don't, they're still with us. They're still happy. They're not going anywhere, but they always have the chance to upgrade. Now, certain members are worth 25 to 50% more to us at CoachNow than they were previously. That's a great metric. Okay. Now we're also retaining them and making them more valuable. Then we offer education opportunities that are maybe bundled in or are a la carte. And at that point, we're now continuing to increase the value that they bring to the business.
Oops, sorry, you just cut out just a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I saw that too. So what I was saying when we cut out, I believe, is that we also offer educational opportunities, right? That are either a la carte or ideally bundled in to then make everything just sweeter and more valuable to everyone involved. Okay. This is a model that all successful businesses do. Think about a fast food restaurant. Why buy the burger when you can buy the combo? We talk about this all the time. And you're going to keep coming back. Where restaurants fail a lot is they don't collect the information of their customers because they don't have some sort of club that you should join, like the BK Club. And if I pay $9.99 a month to be a part of the BK Club, I get a discount on every meal that I buy. Sounds good. Absolutely. So we want to create this business model inside of your universe, and it's completely doable. I've seen it with hundreds of coaches already, and you have the right mindset to do it. So the 3-page deck, level 1, level 2, level 3, all the things that are included. And then from there, I mean, that's a lot of work in itself. And then what I would like to see maybe on the 4th page, just as a bonus, if you have time, is kind of spec out what your ideal space would look like. Because I do agree with you. I think if you do have a space that is yours alone, there's a lot of ways to monetize that space, whether you're in there or not. Because you're going to create a subscription around that where it's monthly practice facility access. There's a lot of opportunities to create more revenue doing that if you can.
Absolutely.
So that's the 4 pages. So before we go though, questions, red flags, things you're nervous about or worried about, like anything that would kind of stop you from being able to achieve that assignment between now and next week?
No, I've got plenty of time to work on it. And good news is I've already started having some ideas of how to get it done.